Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie from A Natter About Books, and today I wanted to show you all of the books that I am hopefully going to read in the month of February. Now obviously February is a bit of a shorter month as it is. I had a ridiculously successful, I think we'll call it, reading month in January where I managed to read 31 books, so one book a day. This month I'm not aiming for that much, but I still want to try and knock down my TBR as much as possible, especially with all of the books that I tend to haul each month, so it'd be nice to at least try and keep them a little bit more balanced. So yeah, I wanted to show you the books that I'm hoping to pick up in February, with a couple of cheats thrown in that I have already picked up in February. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is Orlando by Virginia Woolf. If you've seen my haul video, you'll have known that I picked up all of these vintage classic editions of Virginia Woolf's work. This one was the one that I felt most drawn to. The only one that I'd read previously was Mrs. Dalloway, and Orlando sounded the most interesting to me and also the most different. This is centred around a person who continuously changes between male and female over the course of several centuries so that they can meet key literary figures and find out more about them. So that is the only thing that I know about it. That's all that I kind of want to know. I want to go in a little bit blind on this, and I'm really looking forward to finding out a little bit more. Next we have Trickery by Roald Dahl. This is a short story collection comprised of lots of individually published stories that Roald Dahl wrote over the course of his life. They pop up in a variety of different places, one of which I think is in Playboy magazine. So this is a really interesting look at lots of different stories, all centred around the theme of trickery and deception. And yeah, I just can't wait to get to this one. I have, I think, about 4 or 5 of these different versions. I think I've got Innocence, Cruelty and Lust. And providing that this is good, I'm sure that I'll pick up more. This is the first one that I will have read of his short story collection, so I'm very much looking forward to hopefully getting around to this in February. Next we have Unnatural Causes by Dr. Richard Shepherd. I spoke about this one in my haul as well, so this is one that I picked up in January. This is all about a forensic pathologist who discovers the way that the bodies that he examines, how they died, and yeah, he finds a variety of ways, whether it was suicide, murder, and lots of different things. So this one, as I mentioned in my haul, I'm hoping will fill the Grey's Anatomy shaped hole in my life now that I've watched all 17 seasons and I'm up to date on it. So I'm hoping that this is really gonna help me with that. I haven't heard a lot about this actually, even though it says that it's a Sunday Times bestseller. I've not seen many videos on it either, so I'm quite looking forward to getting around to this and seeing what I think of it. Next we have The Last Animal by Abby Genai. This is one that I saw on Jen Campbell's channel a couple of years ago. This is also a short story collection and I think it's quite fantastical. And it says, series of stories united around one theme, people who use the interface between the human and the natural world to contend with their challenges in love, loss and family life, as it underscores the connection among all living things. So I just think that this sounds really fascinating. I don't know much else about it apart from that, and I just also thought it was beautiful and I couldn't not pick it up. This has been on my shelves for a while now, so I'm really looking forward to getting around to this one finally. And as you can see, I've already popped a bookmark in there, so this is one that I'm going to get to pretty sharpish, I think. Next we have Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This tells of the traumatic case, the Brock Turner case back in 2016, where Chanel was a victim of sexual assault at the hands of a young man who was treated very kindly by the court and the press because he was a gifted young man who was very athletic and could go on to do brilliant things. And this tells of Chanel's side of the story and how she had to deal with victim blaming in a lot of instances just because she was intoxicated at the time. And it just sounds horrific but compelling. And I'm hoping that it'll be a really powerful read, which I'm sure it will be. I've heard only good things about this. I think this was Mercedes' Book of the Year in 2020, so I think that this will probably be one of my top books of 2021. Next we have Home Fire by Camilla Shamsi. This one obviously made the rounds on Booktube a few years ago. This was the winner of the Women's Prize in 2017. I hadn't got around to reading it, and I'm hoping that this month I actually will finish it. I do have this on my library app. I've loaned the audiobook of this just in case that I don't necessarily gel with sitting down and reading it. But this is all around three siblings and how they have all had quite different lives from one another, but also how one of the younger siblings, so there are two twins and an older sister who I think ends up mothering them after their mother passes away, how the male twin goes off to fulfill the legacy of his father who was a jihadist. So I think this one will be quite a tough subject matter, but I've only heard positive things around this, and I think that it's going to be a really fascinating read, and I think it's also going to have a lot of mixed perspectives. I've heard that there is I think the Home Secretary appears in this, who obviously has quite strong views on the subject, so I think this one is going to be quite interesting and very different to anything else that I've got on my TBR pile at the moment, so I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Next we have Talking to Women by Nell Dunn. This is one that I also spoke about in my January haul, and it's a non-fiction where Nell goes around talking to 9 different women back in 1964, and these women vary in social class, in socioeconomic classes, and she finds out their opinions on different matters such as relationships, sex, money, anything like that. She delves into it, and this is just a transcription of those conversations that she had, and it really draws attention to how these women stood out in society as well, so I think it will be a really interesting read. As you can see, I've already started it, which is why I already know a little bit more, so I think this one is going to be really interesting, and I think this is also quite different to anything else that I've got on my TBR pile this month, so I'm looking forward to getting around to this. I'm in this stage of deciding whether or not I should read it all in one sitting or to kind of pick up a story every now and again, because it's separated quite a lot with the 9 different women, so I am looking forward to getting around to finishing this. This also has an introduction by Ali Smith in there, which I didn't realise before I actually read it, so that was very interesting to hear her take on it, obviously in modern day, because this has been republished now, so yeah, I think I'll be pleasantly surprised with this one. Next we have Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. This is one that I don't think I need to talk about too much because it was very popular on Booktube a couple of years ago. I think this won the Man Booker Prize or was shortlisted. No, it won in 2017. So this one, I've only heard great things about George Saunders. I've never read him before, so I'm very much looking forward to picking up my first one from him, and I think this was his first fiction as well. So this centres all around President Lincoln and how his son dies, and then I think it turns into a bit of a ghost story. I have also got the audiobook out for this one, and the only reason that I did that is because I saw that it is narrated by a full cast, including people like Lena Dunham, so I am interested to see how that goes. I tend to get a little bit wrapped up in an audiobook when it has multiple narrators, but it also can be quite busy and confusing. It really depends on the story, so I am very much looking forward to this, and I hope that this lives up to my expectations. I'm sure that it will, so yeah. Next we have House of Names by Colm Toivin. You can see that I've already got a ridiculous bookmark in this one, so this is one that I've also already started. I'm actually listening to this on audiobook as well with my partner. This is one that we're listening to together, and this tells the story of Agamemnon, who sacrificed his eldest daughter in order to win the war. From what I've read so far, we follow Agamemnon's wife, mother of Iphigenia. I think that's how you say her name. So I am really looking forward to finishing this. I've had this on my shelves for years as well. You can tell by a coffee stain on here that it is it's already been worn, and I haven't even read the thing, so I'm looking forward to finally getting around to picking this up. Next we have Hag, the Forgotten Folk Tales Retold. So as the name kind of suggests, this is all to do with folk tales that have been brought forward to modern day, I believe, and rewritten. There are a multitude of different authors that have comprised short stories within this collection. So you've got people like Daisy Johnson, Kirsty Logan, Liv Little, Naomi Booth, Emma McBride. So there are a wealth of different voices within this, so I'm looking forward to kind of delving into this so that I can see the different styles of authors and see if there's any that I've never read before that I would really like. I have already read Daisy Johnson, Emma McBride and Kirsty Logan in the past. The rest of them I have never picked up, so I'm looking forward to getting to this. The blurb on this sounds fantastic as well. So it says, dark, potent and uncanny, Hag bursts with the untold stories of our isles, captured in voices as varied as they are vivid. Here are sisters fighting for the love of the same woman, a pregnant archaeologist unearthing impossible bones, and lost children following you home. A panther runs through the forest of England and pixies prey upon violent men. So that's only a short section of it, but that just sounds fantastic. And I absolutely love folk tales and fairy tales and anything a little bit fantastical and mythical. I'm all there for. Also, this cover is stunning, so I am really excited to pick this up. I have to stop saying that because of course I'm excited to pick these up, because that is why I'm trying to pick them all up this month. But yeah, I think this one is going to be hopefully great. This is The Long Forgotten by David Whitehouse. I've already actually read the first 50 pages or so of this, and I'm not too sure what I make of it. I'm going to keep going, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet. This is about how a black box from a forgotten plane crash is found in the belly of a whale. And the person that finds it actually begins to have memories that don't belong to him, and actually comprise of the memories of those that were in the plane crash and passed away. This also hinges a lot on not knowing a lot about the main character, and apparently this is also meant to tell you his story alongside it, because he's actually forgotten who he is, and you find that out really early on in the novel. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold on this. I thought the concept sounded brilliant. So yeah, we'll see what I think of this, hopefully if I finish it in the month of Feb. Next, we have My Dark Vanessa. This was another one that I picked up in January, written by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This one has also made the rounds everywhere, so I'm not going to talk about it too much because I talked about it in my haul. This is all centred around a 15-year-old girl who has a relationship with her teacher, or one of her teachers, and about how she has to romanticise that relationship in order to process exactly what happened, whereas everyone around her obviously knows that it is wrong, and the teacher himself knows that it's wrong. So this one I think sounds deeply obviously disturbed because of the subject matter, but I'm hoping, and I have seen many people say that it handles it brilliantly, so I'm always compelled to pick up things like this because I want to see how authors handle the subject matter. So I am really looking forward to getting around to this, and I think this again is going to be one that I pick up very quickly. I've even put a bookmark in there to kind of solidify that this is a February read. Fast forward to me on the 28th, panicking and scrambling with bookmarks all around me. But yeah, this is one that I definitely want to get around to reading this month, and I have posted about this on my Instagram as well, and lots of people have said that this is a really great story and is handled very well, so I'm looking forward to that. Next, we have The Western Wind by Samantha Harvey. So this received a lot of praise a few years ago, and I actually picked it up then and never got around to reading it, and I thought that this sounded like a really interesting read when I picked it back up off my shelves the other day and read the blurb, and I was reminded about why I actually picked this up. This is about a man who goes missing and is swept into a river, I believe, or is found in a river, and you try and work out whether he was murdered, whether it was a suicide, whether it was an accident. It's actually told from the viewpoint of the village priest, who hears all of these different things from all of the villagers who confide in him, and obviously he's not at liberty to speak about those things, but I have heard just brilliant things about this, so I think that this will be one of my favourites this month, hopefully, if I do get around to reading it. And finally, a book again that needs no introduction is The Vanishing Half by Bennett. I have yet to read this. Everyone that I have spoken to about this on Bookstagram and have watched many videos on BookTube about this, and I have just heard amazing things. This reminds me very much of Passing by Nella Larson, I believe, which I had to read for my university degree. So I am hoping that this brings a bit more of a modern twist on it. So this is about two sisters that grew up together and then go on to lead completely separate lives, one passing as a white woman, one living a life as a black woman, and how their lives take them in completely different directions and what they do with that. So this one I am really excited to getting around to. If I really enjoy the writing style, which I'm sure I will definitely be picking up The Mothers by Bennett as well, which I know was quite popular last year as well, or maybe the year before. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And I've just grabbed my phone, which is why I'm insanely lit from down here. I look a bit like I'm about to tell a scary story. The last one that I just wanted to talk about, which is an audiobook that I don't have the physical copy of, but I am very excited to get round to. It's a bit of a chunkster, so whether it's one that I start in February and probably don't get around to finishing until March, I think that's fine. Counts. It is The Other Bennett Sister by Janice Hadlow. So this is all to do with Mary, the sister of Elizabeth Bennett, one of the younger, well, I think she's the middle of the Bennett daughters, and she is known for being quite plain and well, you only have to watch the BBC adaptation of Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth to know how she comes across. I want to really get invested in this. I think that it's going to be a brilliant listen. I do want to get the physical copy of it, but I just know that it's so big that I'm just a bit like, maybe if I can just listen to it on audiobook, I can save myself some shelf space. Oh, say that quick 10 times. That was save myself some shelf space. Wow. But yes, so that is one that I am also really excited to get to. But yes, those are all of the books that I wanted to talk to you about for the month of February. There are 15 books in total there, and I'm filming this on the 4th, so realistically I can do it. Whether or not I will finish them all is another question. I'll be happy if I can read about at least 8. See that? I was going to say 10, at least 8. I think that will that'll be an achievement in itself. But there are so many good books that I am hoping to read this month that I've just spoken to you about, that I'm hoping I can get a few more in. I think they're going to be really great reads, and yeah, normally I don't tend to stick to a TBR pile, but I think that considering last year my reading wasn't great, and obviously for many different reasons, last year was not a great year as it is, but I am hoping that this year is gonna, it has already gone in a much better direction for me anyway, but I'm hoping that if I can structure my reading a little bit more, it might help me. Might not. Might next month go back to just picking up whatever I feel like on my shelves, and I'll always allow myself to, you know, if none of these books call to me, I will pick up something completely different. I'm not sticking to it religiously, but these are just possible reads that I could have within the month that I'm hoping to get to. If you aren't already, please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment below on the books that you're planning on reading. Have you actually read any of these? If you hated it, don't tell me. But if you loved it, definitely tell me that, because I'll look forward to picking them up, and you can let me know whether I need to bump it up to one of the ones that I go for immediately this month. I have linked below all of the books that I've just spoken about. I've also linked to things like my Instagram, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.